Hey there, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be doing a collective book haul of all the purchases from the last couple of months. And I've actually read all of these books except the last two because I went on holidays for about 3 weeks and I had so much time on my hands I just whizzed through about 15 books. Yeah, so I have quite a lot to get through and I'll try not to go into too much detail about the plots and everything, but yeah. Here we go. First up is a book that I actually borrowed from a friend. However, she doesn't really care if I give it back to her or not because she didn't particularly enjoy reading it. Definitely not as much as I did. I've actually done a written review of Hush Hush over at my blog. Anyway, Hush Hush is a paranormal romance about fallen angels, and it's basically about Nora and she meets this bad boy called Patch, and they're partnered in biology and the story kind of takes off from there. Crank by Ellen Hopkins was a very interesting book to read. It's actually written in verse, but don't let that dissuade you from buying it. It's still really good. Because of that, I was actually able to read it really fast. It's about 500 pages and I read it in about a day. Crank is about a girl who gets involved with drugs, and the book explores the addiction and the consequences involved. I also bought Impulse by Ellen Hopkins, which is also written in verse. This one actually has 3 narrators, each of which have been committed to a psychiatric hospital. They all have their own different problems, however, the one thing they have in common is that they've all tried to commit suicide. Next up is a book I could not wait to get, and of course it is Divergent by the amazingly talented Veronica Roth. Divergent is set in a dystopian Chicago where society is divided up into 5 factions. The story revolves around Beatrice, and the plot really picks up momentum after the choosing ceremony where all the 16-year-olds choose which faction to either stay in or move to. This is jam-packed, full of action, and there's a bit of romance in there as well, so it's pretty awesome. And I cannot wait for the sequel to come out in April next year. It is called Insurgent, and the cover was recently released, and it is beautiful. I love it. I also did a review on Divergent over on my blog, and this one got 5 out of 5 stars. Here I have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Basically it's about this guy named Clay, and he receives a package, and within this package are 7 cassette tapes. On these tapes are 13 reasons why this girl named Hannah is the girl that Clay used to like, committed suicide. However, if you receive this package, you are one of those reasons. It's a really unique story and you should definitely check it out. Paper Towns by John Green is a contemporary novel. So basically it is about Quentin's next door neighbour, Margot, who runs away. She's done this before and she often leaves little clues and hints about where she's gone. And so this time Quentin takes it upon himself to kind of dissect all the little clues she's left and try and find her. Here we have another dystopian novel, Wither by Lauren DeStefano. So Ryan lives in a world where genetic engineering has resulted in the human race dying off early. Males die at 25 and females die at the age of 20. Because of this, women are being kidnapped and forced into polygamous marriages, and Ryan is one of 3 sister brides who are being forced to marry this guy named Lyndon. Wither is another story with an amazingly unique plotline and was just a really, really good book to read. Again, the sequel for this one, Fever, is coming out in February next year, so excited for that. Next is Forgotten by Kat Patrick. London has a really unusual condition. She has no recollection of her past, but she has memories of her future. Basically, at the end of the day, she has to write down everything that happened and things she needs to remember because at about 4 AM her memory just completely resets. This was really interesting and well written. There's also a bit of romance in here which worked really well considering 2 things. Well, firstly, she has no recollection of her past, so she doesn't really remember this dream guy. However, she has no future memories of this guy, so yeah. So here is another really good book, and it is Hourglass by Myra McIntyre. Emerson is able to see dead people, and her brother hires this guy who is supposed to be able to help her with seeing ghosts and everything. But there are a lot of twists in this book. It is so good. It's an amazing story, and there's a bit of science fiction in there as well. The Forest of Hands and Teeth is a post-apocalyptic novel about zombies. The zombies, or the unconsecrated, live in the Forest of Hands and Teeth, and the village in which Mary lives is kind of just an island right in the centre of it, so they're constantly surrounded by these zombies. However, this book doesn't have that much action in it. It's more deep and dark and emotional. Okay, so these next few ones are actually from the middle of a few series that I'm reading. The first one is Spiritbound by Richelle Mead. This is the 5th book in the Vampire Academy series, and the last one, Last Sacrifice. I do have it, but I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. I love the whole world that Richelle Mead has created with the vampires. It's just really, really unique and not something you've come across before. Next is Passion by Lauren Kate. This is the 3rd book in the Fallen series, and the 4th one, Rapture, is coming out sometime next year. I really liked how this book was set out and how the story progressed, but I'm not going to explain it because it'll spoil the whole series for you. Aside from that, I love the Fallen Angels theme in this one. So next I have Everlasting by Alison Noel. Yes, please ignore the sticker right here. I got a little crazy shopping. 3 for 2? What? Anyway, this is the 6th and final book in the Immortal series, where the first book is called Evermore. Now this book was okay. I mean, I liked the first and the second one. However, from the 3rd one onwards, I just felt that the story was completely stretched out and probably could have concluded a lot sooner. This is The Dead of the Night by John Marsden, who is an Australian author. This one is the 2nd book in the Tomorrow series, and the first book is Tomorrow When the War Began. That was actually adapted into a movie, which came out last year or the year before, and it was actually a really, really good movie. Apparently, this one's becoming a movie as well. However, I'm not positive, but I really hope it does because they are really good. Just amazing. So the first book is about a group of teenagers who decide to go camping out in the bush in this place called Hell. Now when they come back, the place is completely deserted. As it turns out, some unknown foreign nation has invaded Australia, and one of their bases is actually really close by to their hometown. There is so much action in these books. I love them. They are amazing. Read them. They're awesome. Okay, these last two I got in the mail a couple of days ago, and I've started reading one of them and the other one I haven't got to read yet. So first up is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. I just want to start out by saying, isn't the cover amazing? It's just so pretty. For this one, I ordered the hardcover online because everywhere I went they only had the paperback, and it has a white background around here and I just don't like that. But yeah. Anyway, this is not really dystopian, it's more futuristic and science fiction. Basically, the ship is travelling to another planet which is supposed to be inhabitable, and the entire journey will take about 300 years. For the journey, there are a lot of essential people who are being frozen, because when they land on the new planet they're supposed to be unfrozen, and they're required to make sure that humans can pretty much live on this new planet. So Amy is frozen along with her parents, however, she wakes up 50 years before they're supposed to land. Someone tried to kill her. So there is so much mystery in this one. I'm loving it so far, and I am about halfway through and I still have no clue who tried to kill her. So the last book I have is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I'm not entirely certain about what this book's about, but I'm guessing it's about a maze. No, seriously, I've read the synopsis and I think it sounds really awesome. Every 30 days, a new boy is entered into the glade. Surrounding the glade is the maze, and every night the doors are shut tight because there's supposed to be really creepy stuff in the maze. And then every morning it reopens again. So I'm really intrigued by the plotline of this one. I think it sounds absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to read this. And apparently the 3rd book is coming out in October, so I had better get a wriggle on and read the 1st and 2nd one so I can go and get it when the last one when it comes out. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, that's all of the books that I got in the last couple of months. I'm trying not to buy any more new books because I have about 70 books in my to-be-read pile, and I keep buying books like these ones which sound amazing and then they just get completely neglected. I'm not complaining about these really good books. I mean, I want to read them, but there's books in my to-be-read pile that have been there for over 5 years. And yeah, I hope to see you soon with a new video, maybe a review or something. I don't know. Bye bye. Everybody was kung fu fighting.